worked hard. I stayed positive mostly, even when sometimes it seemed there was no rational reason to remain positive. I accepted every assignment I ever got, sometimes regrettably, but I did. And when I came upon obstacles walking across my personal Sahara, I walked around them, and I sometimes climbed over them. Whatever I have achieved through perseverance and resilience, industry, and luck. These are survival skills. And then and now, any worker, but especially us, African American workers, must have those skills or develop those skills, or there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to survive.
Welcome to the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, of course. Right now, I'm sitting with two dynamic brothers doing some amazing things. I'm going to talk about doctors. And for my people out there, yes, doctors. We can do a lot of things in urban America, so I'm going to introduce Dr. Randal Pinkett and Dr. Jeffrey Robinson. How are you, brothers?
Good, brother. Thanks for having us on the program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So here we're going to talk about this amazing book, Black Faces in White Places. Now, a lot of people might see this and like, I can get into this. And I know it's a lot of different things y'all can talk about, but I want to let the people know both of these brothers do some amazing things. Dr. Randal is the BCT CEO and chairman.
Yes.
And Dr. Jefferson, definitely doing some things at Rutgers. He's a leading faculty member in the business school, award-winning business scholar, so he's doing some amazing things. So, brothers, Black Faces in White Places. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so the book, the title is obviously provocative, and it captures both our lived experience, having been black faces in many white places, the only black student in our schools, attended predominantly white universities, Rutgers University, et cetera, et cetera. I'm an entrepreneur, he's a professor, very few of us in those professions. But it also captures the experience of most people of color, quite frankly, that if you've moved through any environment, any industry, at some point you're going to see very few people who look like you. And that says something because it speaks to the fact that there's still underrepresentation for us in a variety of areas at a variety of levels, and that needs to be addressed. And so as part of this book, we're also launching a campaign to kind of highlight these issues and get people to take action on how to address it.
That's right. And one of the things we talk about in the book is about entrepreneurship. Because you can be an entrepreneur working for somebody else, be an intrapreneur inside of a corporation, but you can also be an entrepreneur for yourself and for the community. And that's an important part of the book, that we talk about how there's only 5% of the black population is involved in formal entrepreneurship. And we are encouraging more people to get into entrepreneurship. Whether you got your own barbershop or whether you're going to have your own IT firm, entrepreneurship is something that's going to contribute back to the community and create wealth, which is important for our community.
Definitely. Now, I know you're one of my passions, urban entrepreneurship, economic development. And a lot of people know young brothers in the hood, they want to be business owners, they want to be owners, they want to be self-employed. And a lot of people don't realize there's a difference between being self-employed and owning a business, because it's not the same. So if you can let the brothers know what's the difference. We're going to talk about this, but I want just them to know the difference between being self-employed and owning a business.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are self-employed. They employ themselves. Big challenge with being self-employed is that if you don't do the work, then you don't get paid. You don't have people working for you. When you have a business, when you're a business owner, you have people who are working for you. So you can make money while you sleep because other people are working on your behalf. You can take a vacation because other people are working on your behalf. That's the big difference. Self-employed, you take a vacation, you're not getting paid. But if you are a person who is a business owner, you've got people working for you.
You know, we talk about urban Wall Street. You got to work for yourself and work for you. Now, 10 game-changing strategies. Let me get two of the top that you like the most. Two of the top game-changing strategies that you definitely need to put in place if you want to really make your things work and get some success and some achievement.
Okay, I'll take one out of his mouth, and then he can figure out which one he wants to take. Strategy 8 is to think and act like an entrepreneur. Think and act like an entrepreneur. That doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur to think like an entrepreneur. And what we argue in the book is that entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way you think. That it's a way of thinking about creativity, about passion, about resilience, about courage, about perseverance, about having a vision for what you want to accomplish. And you could be entrepreneurial as an administrative assistant, you could be entrepreneurial as a doctor or a lawyer, or as a full-fledged business owner. And what we're here to say is that in the 21st century, that is one of the defining mindsets, that in a recession, in a tough economy, in this global economy and society we live in, that I don't care what you do, librarian, teacher, or business owner, you got to think like an entrepreneur, which means that your career is your own private business.
That's right. Another one that's good for people to think about is strength in numbers. You know, we often get criticized as a community that we can't work together. We've got to figure out ways to work together because there's strength in numbers. That could mean a small team or group or posse. Who are your people that you're hanging out with? We used to joke around that if you're hanging out with a lot of people who are looking to you for support, then you got the wrong group of people. Right? So who are the people who you're figuring out the next big thing to do, your next steps? Those teams, those posses, those groups of people who are your inner circle can form the basis of a business or an organization that's going to make an impact in the community. And as you start to think about what you're going to do with the rest of your life, you need to have some good people who are around you. So there's strength in numbers, another one of our strategies.
I like that. Now this National Town Hall Tour. Where did this? Whose brainchild was this?
Oh, that was.
I was going to take drink credit, but
I got to give credit where credit's due.
Well,
it's a great idea.
You know, we looked at a comparable model, which was what Dr. Ian Smith did with the billion-pound challenge, trying to get folks to lose weight, and how he was spawning people to take action and giving them some practical tips. We look at the 10 strategies, and you can see very clearly that they imply certain actions. Start a business. Form a book club, give back to your community, clean up the neighborhood. I mean, there's all these simple things you can do. So we said, oh, let's start a campaign that says, look at these 10 strategies, pick something you're going to do for yourself. And that speaks to the book's subtitle about achieving success. What do you do for yourself? But also, what are you going to do to find greatness, which is what you're going to do for somebody else. So pick a strategy, do something for yourself to propel your career. Pick something you're going to do also that's going to help somebody else.
Now, Dr. Robinson, after this tour ends, what's the one thing you really want the people who have seen it from state to state to really get and understand?
Well, it's an action plan. They've got to think about this not as just something you read and put on the shelf, but it should be an action plan. We're gonna follow even this book up with some more work that talks about what else you can do within the community to expand on some of these strategies. But the website, redefinethegame.com, is going to help people to actually put things into practice. So don't just talk about it, but be about it.
Now, in closing, before we get out of here, a lot of young people may go to college, they see the shirts and the ties, and sometimes they get dissuaded. But what do we want them to know? Whether you're in a shirt and tie, you're in jeans, you're in a sweat hood, what's the one thing you really want everyone to know, black, white, Latino, or other?
I would want them to know that if you really want to understand somebody's story, don't look at what's on the outside. Don't look at what they've accomplished. Don't look at their suit, their tie, you know, whether they're on TV or whether they're on the street corner. Get to know their story. And when you get to know somebody's story, like you get to know Oprah Winfrey's story, you get to know Barack Obama's story, you get to know our stories or those that we interviewed for the book, you get to go behind the veneer to really understand that they're people, that they had struggles, they had failures, they had insecurities. And I think that personalizes them in a way that you don't seek to emulate what they've accomplished, but you seek to find what is your calling, because we all have that calling, and it can lead you to your destiny, it can lead you to your success and your greatness.
That's right. I'll just go one step further with that. You know, that purpose that you have is unique to you. You're bringing something to the table. It's not your identity is not a liability. You know, it's an asset that you bring to the table. I don't care who you are. You're bringing something to the table, and that's the starting point for starting to look at what you're going to make as a difference in the world.
That's a beautiful situation, brothers. Black faces and white places. It's a beautiful situation. Young people, buy this book. Older people, if you want to change your game, you want to make sure you can put your life in position to succeed and accomplish greatness, pick up this book. I know there's a website that people can go to, brothers.
Redefinethegame.com. Simple, easy to remember. Redefinethegame.com.
Dr. Pinkett, I want to thank you. Dr. Robinson, I want to thank you here. Urban Wall Street people, go to the website, check out the national tour. It's a beautiful situation. But pick up this book. If you think you want to make it or you know you want to make it, you're going to need it because the game is real. Redefine yourself, redefine your game. Urban Wall Street, be prosperous, be mindful. Till next time, peace.